So today we're going to be talking about some resources that maybe you haven't dived into a whole lot yet. There's some things I'm going to show you today that I constantly forget about, and then somebody asks me about it and I'm like, oh yeah, that does exist. So these are things that I really think are beneficial for you to get to know, get to use, and then implement them as you can. So the first one I actually want to start off with is a company called List Reports. Some of you might know about this one, but List Reports gives you a daily social media post, all about something real estate related. Okay. And they even give you like your entire like byline, like what you need to say on the post. You can always change it up. But if you come into List Reports and create yourself an account, it's completely free to use this. You can also register to subscribe to receive this in your email every day. So every morning when you wake up, it'll say, here's today's shareable post. And then you can just go right into your email and copy and paste it onto your social media. But it's called Shareables. And here's all the shareables. So you can come in here and browse if you're looking for something specific. So maybe we're looking at buying, here are some posts that you can make about home buying. Okay. But they will give you this shareable each day. And here's what like today's is. So it's a graphic that says, do I need 20% down to buy a home? Okay. And then you can brand it if you'd like. And then here's the caption for the post, including hashtags. So 1989 call, they want their facts back. That's actually pretty funny.
That's clever.
The majority of first-time buyers put less than 20% down to buy their home. Right? And a couple hashtags you can add to this, you can change it up, you can delete the hashtags and use whatever ones you want. You can click to share right to Facebook from here. You can download it as a PNG file, then share it. You can copy and paste this text. So it's a daily social media post for you that you can implement, as well as maybe some more organic content that you're going to want to be creating, right? And we've done a lot of conversations in the last couple of months about social media and how to create some of this content. But I mean, if you're on the go, you've got a lot going on, at least just download this and upload it, right? Like at least just share this. At least you're posting something. So lots of great shareables here. Okay. Now,
so Kathleen, these are, if I caught it, it's Facebook dimensions, not Instagram, or is it both? I didn't quite catch
I think it's probably most likely Facebook dimensions. I would say.
It looks like more of a general social media like size. So I think it's probably sized mainly for Facebook, especially if they have the specific Facebook share option there. But you should be able to share it to Instagram and LinkedIn and other social media accounts too. I feel like, a general social media design typically works well with across platforms.
Okay, thanks.
And then we have a question in the chat, Kathleen, from Brittany. Is this similar to Keeping Current Matters?
Yeah, so Keeping Current Matters does have some social media stuff that you can engage in. I like Keeping Current Matters because they also have like a blog. Now, keep in mind, there's a cost associated with KCM. So, just they might have some free stuff. I'm not too familiar. I haven't putzed around with it too much. But I know if you're paying for content, you get like a blog and you can always like upload the blog. You can put the blog into a newsletter in Command and email it out to your database as well. You have the right to do that when you're paying for that service. So Keeping Current Matters does have some different features. If you're looking to maybe get a little bit more like newsletter-y type stuff, KCM is really good for that as well. Okay, so what you're gonna see here is as I click through some of these things, see how this is like choose your branding, I come in here and it also says paired featured, right? What that means is if you pair with a loan officer who subscribes to list reports, you unlock a bunch of extra features. This is a cost to the loan officer. This is not a cost to you, the agent, okay? So if you just pair with the loan officer, you get all these extra features. So I did a few searches. You just want to like search for your loan officer's names. So I know like Jake Showman, if you type his name in here, you'll see him right here. You can pair with him. I know Jake Salemi from Epic Mortgage, he's in here, so you can pair with him. So type in your favorite loan officer, and then if they're not in there, type in your second favorite, and you know, pair with the loan officer because it'll unlock all these extra features for you. So things like you get unlimited access to the library of the premium shareable content. So aside from just the daily one you'll be sent, you'll also get access to a whole library. You can build out single property and just sold promotional websites, and you can use you can get these customized sign writers that have a custom text to lead code. So if somebody texts the number on the sign writer, it goes right in here as a lead for you as well. So there's a lot of features on here. Once you pair with a loan officer, I would just, you know, maybe reach out to your loan officer, let them know you're going to pair with them. I'm not really sure how the charges work, but it is still free for you to use once you're paired. Okay. So I'll let you play around, list reports, click on all the stuff, find out all the different things. There is like this marketing kit in here. I played around with it, and I'm just going to put a plug for Lindsey because the designs that she's made in our marketing concierge, I think are beautiful in comparison to these marketing kits. So use the marketing concierge.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to move off of list reports. And I'm going to go to NAR RPR. So hopefully everybody's at least signed into RPR once before. If you haven't, you already have an account. It is linked to your NAR credentials. So as long as you're a realtor, you have access to RPR. The website is narrpr.com. And then this is the homepage. Just know that if you click on this learn button at the top here, they do all sorts of webinars specifically for like how to use this website, how to do some fun searches, where can I find Canva templates for the market updates. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and this is all completely free to you as part of your Realtor Association membership. Okay. So know that there's a lot of information on here that can help you navigate this website a little bit. But some of the really cool things I want to show you with RPR are, let's just say I want to farm an area and I want to be really intentional about who I'm farming to, okay? Because I really don't want to start farming to somebody who bought the house in the last 6 months. Well, let's face it, they're not selling it, right? And so I really want to look more about like maybe somebody who bought it 5 years ago, right? People on average stay in their home for 7 years. So maybe we look at 7 years ago, who bought their house 7 years ago, and maybe start farming specifically to them. That'll help you also reduce cost. You know, instead of mailing out something to 700 people, maybe we filter it down to the 400 people that you think are more likely to move, right? So what you do is you click on this prospect for clients. And one thing I really love about RPR is they have this little pop-up that walks you through exactly how to do what you want to do step by step. So what am I looking for? Am I looking for potential buyers or am I looking for potential sellers? For this example, I'm looking for potential sellers. And the next thing it says, you have to click on this button that says research. And then you have to click on the map search. Okay, so we want residential real estate. We don't want commercial. Okay. And then you can search by a zip code. You can filter it down from there. I'm going to go ahead and just use Muskego. And then you have more filters that you can apply in this advanced search as well. So what you can do is, I'm not interested in properties that are for sale or currently on the market for lease, right? That's not interesting to me. I'm looking for people that might want to have a conversation about selling their home. So I'm going to check public records instead. And then you can put in your sold dates. So what homes in Muskego sold between the 1st of 2016 and the last day of 2017? So that's a full 2-year period. I can even click on here and narrow this down. So I can say January 31st of 2016. So just 2016. Here's everybody that bought 206 homes. Okay. Your property type, do you want just single families? Do you want to go after like condos or anything else? I would just stick to single families. Unless you are going to specifically farm a condo area, I would just stick with single families. And that's all I would really put in here. Now, I mean, you can use some other miscellaneous filters. Honestly, it's only 200 people. I would just stick with the 200 people. So I just hit update search. Here's my 206 properties that sold in 2016 in Muskego. And then look at this. I can just hit this button that says mailing labels. I want a PDF of my mailing labels. You can choose between the 3 different Avery templates of mailing labels that they have. Do I want to address to the owner? Do I want it to say and or current resident, or, like, what do I want to say? And then print. There you go. Print those off on some stickers, get to mailing. I think that's pretty cool. So think about going after what neighborhoods you want to go after, and start farming them, right? Go get in front of those sellers. You can also use those mailing labels as like a door knocking list if you wanted to do door knocking. So you can just cross them off on the mailing label once you've had a conversation with them.
And even add them to your database in Command. Track all of the activity if you did go door knocking, and you can add that, little activity within their contact and say, spoke to this person, following up next week. Yeah, great way to build up your database.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other way, when you hit that print or mailing labels button, it did ask you if you wanted a CVS file. You could take that CVS file and upload it directly into Command.
Do you know if NARPR clears the list of do not mail recipients?
I'm not familiar with a do not mail list. I mean, there's the do not call, but mailing doesn't affect that. So I've never heard of a do not mail list. Okay, so that's just one thing that you can do in RPR. The other thing there's so much more things. Opportunity zones, investor analysis. Opportunity zones are going to show you areas where like nobody has really, or it's going to show you areas where the turnover rate is higher. So these are probably going to be a lot of like your first time home buyer neighborhoods where the turnover rate is higher than other neighborhoods where people maybe stay in their homes for 20 years. These people might only stay in their home for 5 years, which means it's probably easier to get a listing in an area where the turnover rate is high. You can also create your own CMA inside RPR. It's very similar to the CMA that you can create in MLS, but the nice thing about RPR is I think it just looks a little bit prettier. And I like the way it prints. And you know, there's a few more extra tools in there that MLS doesn't provide with the CMA. The way you can create the CMA is, again, if you click on this button, it's going to show you the step-by-step. You're going to start with putting in an address of the property that you want to list. So here's the property, here's the information about it, the last sold price, what RPR estimates the value to be. Okay. And then also the changes. So month over month, the value of my house from last month went up $2,500. I'm not mad. Year over year, the value of my house has gone up almost 8%. Okay. These little confidence score right here, these stars right here, is how confident is RPR in, or how confident is RPR in the value of this property based upon the data that it has. So the more data it has to be able to price a property, the more confident it's going to be. Okay. And then you can just click here to create a CMA. What I like to do for it, to do the CMA in here, is I actually start by pulling my comps in MLS like I would for any other property. I go through all the MLS sheets and I narrow it down to, you know, the 3 to 5 properties that I feel are the best comps. And then it'll give you an option in this create CMA to enter in those MLS numbers and pull those in. So I like to use the MLS to really narrow down my focus for a CMA, and then I enter in those comps into the CMA report. And then the report that you get from it, I think just looks cleaner. The branding's really nice. It just looks a little more updated than the MLS reports that you get. Okay. So I would really recommend you using, if you're going on a listing appointment and you're taking a CMA with you, use RPR to make the pretty little package that you take to your sellers. Okay. And then the last thing I want to show you with RPR is market trends. Okay. So this is really good when you're trying to have maybe like a pricing conversation with the seller. You really need to understand what direction your pricing is going in, right? Where are we at? We definitely don't want to overprice homes in this market, but we also don't want to leave money on the table. So, and we don't want to underprice it in such a way where I have 55 people through the house in a day. That's a little overwhelming, right? So we have to really think about our pricing, and these market trends can help you do that. Okay. So you're going to start again by, I just go by zip codes. You can do neighborhoods or whatnot. I'm just going to do Muskego again. And right here, first thing you can do is change this property type. So this is pulling in all single family and condos. I can change that to just single families. So right now, what kind of market are we in Muskego? We're in a really, really hot seller's market. It doesn't get more seller's market than that. Okay. Our average list to sold price is 103%. So houses are selling for more than they're listed for. Our months of inventory keeps dropping, which means we don't have many houses for sale. Okay. And the average sold price in Muskego has gone up 17% month over month. So here are some of the reports that also go with this. We have a median estimated property value report. This goes back to 2008. So if we just start, you know, maybe around 2020, this is COVID right here, this drop, that's COVID. And you can see what trend line we've been on since that. This is just new listings. Okay, so average list price, the number of properties that have come on the market for sale is down. So there's the inventory dips. Price per square foot, right? But you can see since 2018, even though it looks like it's down right now, if you look the course of the overall trend line, it's still going up, right? There's 17 active properties. Here's pendings, solds, and months of inventory. Right. So these are really cool, I think, market reports. What we share in team meetings each week is a little bit more of the overview of the 5-county area. But you might want to get a little bit more granular with just the market that you're working in for that specific listing, right? So really just getting a little bit more specific of the area that you're in. Okay. So keeping on, and if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat or shout them out. But did you know that RPR also has an app? And I would highly recommend you download this app. On the home screen, it knows where you're located. So right now I'm in the Lake Country office, and it pulls up instantly how many properties are within a half a mile from where I'm located in Heartland. There's 3 for sale and 5 recently closed. So say I was at a listing appointment and we were talking with the seller about pricing, and before I pulled up my comps, I could probably jump on here and say, oh, well, Mr. Seller, within a half a mile of your home, just so you know, there's only 1 house for sale and 6 recently closed, which means there's not going to be a whole lot of competition. We should be able to drive a lot of traffic. Think of it as like another tool in your tool belt to show the seller that, like, I'm the market expert. I know what's going on. I've learned everything I need to learn, and I can sell your house better than any other agent because I have the knowledge and the tools, because look at the cool app I'm using, right? You can also pull up the same market trends that I just showed you on the desktop. They're here on the app as well. So you can sit with your seller right there and go through some of the market trends so that they understand why you're pricing the home where you've decided to land on the price, right? And then you can actually search for homes for sale as well. So this is a little bit of a search app as well, because it's connected to the MLS. But so I would download the app as well, log in, play around with it. It's a few fun little tools that I think you might be able to utilize when you're out talking to, maybe you're at a barbecue, right? And somebody's like, well, how's the market? You can be like, well, let me show you. Beep, here it is. There's only 4 houses for sale within a half a mile where we're standing, and here they are, and here's their price. And you can kind of go into people with that. So that could be a really cool tool when you're out and about. Then Lindsey, I think I'm going to kick it over to you, and maybe you can share with us some of those fun reports on MLS that could help agents.
Yeah, for sure. So not sure if anybody has, dabbled in the MLS statistical reports. But there are some additional reports that you can pull in from the MLS, kind of mainly showing like your production or where you stand amongst other agents within the MLS. So I just wanted to pull up and show everyone where you can find those. These are great to have on hand for listing appointments, just meeting with new clients. So let me share my screen. Sorry, my Zoom is asking for my.
I think we lost your sound, Lindsey. Nope. Okay. It's not working. All right. So I'm just going, oh, she got it. Did you get it? Sorry.
Oh, can everyone hear me?
We can hear you. You almost had the screen share going.
It keeps asking for my password. All right, I think I'm good. Technical difficulties, I tell you. Okay, let me try this again. All right. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. That took way longer than I should. Okay, so let me just click back into the home page here. So I'm in Flex MLS. And when you click on the menu at the top, it's going to display all of the different options and pages that you have available. So I'm going to scroll down to the statistics section and then click on statistical reports. And so a couple different ones here. So statistical summaries, this is one that's going to pull in specifically like your numbers. And when you click on each of these, it's going to tell you a little bit of a overview of what that includes on the right-hand side here. So for the statistical summaries, it says it provides statistics for sales, breakdowns for co-listing, list sale, new, expired, and other statuses for a certain period of time. So when you scroll down, you're going to click on Run Report after you've selected what type of report you want. And so you have these reporting options. So if you're looking to just pull in like your entire production list, buy sides, all of that, you're going to leave everything checked off for property type. You're not really going to necessarily need to specify any of like the status or sold date, price, anything like that. You're just going to scroll down and you're going to select your association, which is going to be the Metro MLS. And then statistic types, you just want to run by member. And then this is where you can pull in your date. So if you want to just pull in like of all time, maybe you started in real estate, 5 years ago, I just go in and add year 2000. I believe you can only pull reports as far back as like 1995, I want to say. I don't know, Kathleen, do you have that specific year in mind? But it's around like the mid 90s, I want to say. So if you started in real estate before that, just know that MLS only has a record like around the mid 90s, pulling as far back as that date. So then you just click on next. And because I'm logged into our KW Milwaukee North Shore admin account, I would just go in and pull in, if I was helping an agent, I would find their name. But then that basically is going to pull up their statistics. So this is actually something that we do for the listing presentations, the Keller Williams Milwaukee listing presentations, and how we pull those numbers in to display an agent's production, average sale price, average days on market, and those types of numbers. So again, it's a great tool to kind of pull in your business statistics from the MLS. It'll pull in all of those numbers for you. The other one too, if you want to utilize more of the like where you rank within the MLS, there's a ranking report. So I wanted to go back and show everyone that as well. So again, under statistics and then statistical reports, there's this ranking report. So if you wanted to see where you rank amongst your peers in the MLS, this is where you can find that. And again, you're just going to click on Run Report, property type, just leave all of that the same. Association again, Metro MLS. Associations here, again, Metro MLS. And then I just go back as far as year 2000. When you click next, you can choose to rank amongst other members, their offices, companies. I would keep it at members and then just use this section. You can calculate it based on either number of units or dollar volume. You'd probably just want to leave it at sold. You could change that to dollar volume. And then it'll say, please choose how sold listings are counted. You'd probably want to select the last option, listing or selling members. And then you can enter a number, a maximum number of members to display. So if you think you're in the top 10, great, you can leave it at 10. You could even go, you know, as high as, you know, 1,000 or 10,000. So you can type in that number to see, you know, if you rank amongst the top 100 agents, then you can pull that number in. And then when you click next, then you're going to get this report. So again, it's a great opportunity to kind of display your numbers and where you rank amongst other agents. So if you're in competition with another agent for a listing, you can go in here and you can say, you know, I'm one of the top 50 members in our MLS or agents in our MLS, but you'll be able to pull those ranking reports through the MLS. Kathleen, anything else to add for this one? Okay. And then I just want to really quickly show, I mean, I think what Kathleen went over with RPR was really powerful just in terms of how you can pull in mailing addresses if you're farming a neighborhood. But I just wanted to show where you can do that in the MLS as well. So the MLS has the tax information section. And again, I'm going to click into the menu here. And you can always search for something too. So tax information. So it's under this taxes section. And so tax information, I just click on that. That's going to open up a new tab in your web browser. And this is where over on the left-hand side, you can actually, if you're looking up people's names to find out where they live, you can click on this owner name option. And if you know, maybe that you know for sure they live in Milwaukee County or Ozaukee, Washington, Waukesha, you can select a specific municipality within those counties. Otherwise, you can just click on search entire county. So if you are completely unsure of where exactly they live, you can select all of those. So let's see if that pulls me up. But if I search for myself, for example, click on search, there we go. There's my tax information, the address where that person lives. That's all going to pull in there. The other thing that you can do, so if you wanted to pull in specific addresses and print mailing labels or download a CSV file, very similar to RPR, you have this address range. And again, this is where you can search by specific municipalities across the 4 counties. But then you would just select, maybe like the street names. So if you wanted to like farm your neighborhood, for example, I would enter in some of the street names in my subdivision. Just going to put in a couple here. And you can do by street number if you want to get more specific. But I think if you just put in the street name, it should pull everything. So I'm going to do Port Washington and then search. And there we go. So it'll tell you you've got 130 total parcels. I can click over to all the pages here. Otherwise, I can just click on select. And then I can do mailing labels, data export. So if I do mailing labels, it'll also give you some different information or different formatting options. So if I wanted to include like or current resident on that mailing label, I can choose to add that. And then I can generate that PDF file. I think this is the CSV file. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so that's the CSV file. So that's that spreadsheet that you would get with all of those mailing addresses in there. And that's something that you can import into Command as well. And I would say anytime you're exporting, you know, a list of mailing addresses with names and everything, something like this, I would make sure to tag that as well. So when they're in your database, they're then tagged with either like farm or the neighborhood name or by zip code or city, municipality, however you want to tag it, just make sure they are tagged. So let's say you're doing direct mailers and you can easily filter by that tag to grab this list of contacts that you're sending to. Because one thing that's great about this list is that you're getting actual people's names. It's not just saying current resident. So that's something, if you are doing a direct mail campaign within Command and you're drawing an area, that system is not going to know the exact owner's name. It's just going to say current resident. Whereas this way, if you're pulling in these addresses and then importing into Command, you're going to have the actual owner's name on that mailing label. All right, Kathleen, should I flip it back to you?
Yeah, there's one more, a couple more things we want to show you guys. So. All right, so from the MLS, I'm going to go into showing time, okay? And in showing time, you can find reports. And these are the ones that I always forget exist until somebody brings it up and I'm like, oh, that's the report, okay? This very bottom of this page is this target market analysis. And I think this is a report that you're really going to want to use if you're going on listing appointments. Okay. Just when you do your CMA, come in here and run this report as well. This is why this report will give you the why am I pricing your home here instead of here? Why am I going to price your home at $849 versus $875? Okay, let me show you this report. So you can go back at least 90 days. I usually just do the last 30 days for this report. These are all the showings that have taken place in specific price ranges. Now, this is all of showing time in our Metro MLS. That's too much for us. We want to narrow it down. Let's just say I'm going on a listing appointment and it's in the 800,000 range. Okay. I want to narrow down this price range a little bit because the $100,000 houses don't interest me. So I'm going to say 500 to $1 million. And because I'm going on a listing appointment, I also want to narrow it down. Instead of $100,000 increments, I'm going to say $50,000 increments. Then I also want to narrow it down by city. So let's just do, see if I can do Heartland. Let's see how much data I get for that. Okay, so here is the showing data over the last 30 days of homes in Heartland between $500,000 to $1 million. And how many showings they got, right? So Mr. Seller, the reason why I'm going to price it at $799 versus $825 is because at $799, there's this many more showings than at $825 in the last 30 days in Heartland. This kind of shows you where your buyer pool is sitting in different price ranges. So let's just try a different example. Let's do something that maybe has a little bit more data. So I'm going to change and go from 300,000 to 700,000. And I'm going to say Brookfields and see what they have for us. Okay. Graph looks a little bit differently, right? Why would I want to list it at 495 versus 525? 210 showings between 450 and 500 and only 10 showings between 500 and 550. Where are your buyers? Our buyers are under $500,000 in Brookfield right now. Does this make sense? I want to make sure everybody's understanding how to utilize this one. So we can change this out and we can say Muskego. Ooh, that varies a little bit there, right? But we'll see, we have buyer pool under 400 and we have a really strong buyer pool in the 450 to 550 range. Right? So this is why I'm going to price your house a little bit differently, because I can see that we have a really strong buyer pool in this price range versus this price range. You can change it and go last 60 days in Muskego. That gives us a different picture as well, right? So I like this report because you can really tailor it to the story that you want to tell. Okay.
Kathleen, I think Kathy has a question.
Yeah.
Kathy, if you want to jump on and ask a question, I saw you raised your hand.
So this might be not make sense, but like, how would you know maybe there were 20 homes in that, you know, greater price range and only 5 in that greater price range? So is it just because there's more homes in that price range?
It could be, if you come down here, so I adjusted it to get a little bit more of a target price point. So I went 200 to 400 and I changed the increments down to $25,000 marks. And if you come over here to the bottom, this chart on the right-hand side says showings per listing. The most amount of showings per listing was in the 200 to 225 mark.
Thank you.
Does that, yeah. Versus, you know, the lowest one we have is at the 375 mark. That only got 13 showings per listing. Now, was it one listing? Was it 2 listings that got a total of 26 showings? We don't know. But I think just saying, if 30 houses were listed in this price point in the last 60 days, the average showing per house was this. And so I think there's a lot of data on this one that you can really use when you go on your listing appointments to say, like, the reason I'm not going to list this house above 250 is because we don't have buyers in that price range. We need to go under 250 and look how much we'll capture. Okay. So that's my favorite report in showing time. There's one other report I want to show you real quick, which is the activity on comparables report. So this is very similar, but you're going in shorter time frames. So if you have a listing that maybe is not moving, right? It's a little bit stale. You can look at, let's say, the last 7 days for properties of 300 to 500. And basically, here's how many showings have been on that. So maybe we should put a, let's see, it looks like Brookfield has some properties. So we'll narrow that down. Okay, here's every showing in Brookfield in the last 7 days on this price range. Who was the agent that had a buyer? And how can I reach out to that agent and ask them to come show my property too? So this is kind of like a reverse prospecting in the MLS, but you can go and say, you know, Alex, Dina Mark on the Southwest office, I know you have a buyer for $500,000 in Brookfield. You know, I just put my house on the market and you didn't put in a showing request yet. Why not? Right? So that's another one of my favorite reports on showing time. So what do you guys think? What did we show you some cool stuff today?
Yeah, definitely.
definitely. Those are very cool.
Yeah, like I said, these are all things that I forget exist on a regular basis. So my challenge to you is to make them part of like your regular process. For list reports, make it part of your social media plan for the week. And then for the other reports and RPR that we showed you, make that part of your listing appointments, your CMA process. A lot of the stats that Lindsey showed you, you can add some of that into like a listing presentation. And use RPR to start farming some neighborhoods. We are in a market right now where the listings will not fall in your lap. You have to go find them. So find a neighborhood, grab a list of every person who bought their house 7 years ago in that neighborhood and go talk to them. Because they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. All right, any other questions? This was
Not-
recorded, so
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
it'll be uploaded either today or tomorrow.